If you come to my exhibit later, they'll have the So this is just an example of an extremely smooth space where you're in a metal hill looking down at the earth from below, or the earth below rather. And one thing I noticed was that as speed increases, obviously control over not only your body but your sort of social being also increases in kind. So, is there volume on this thing? Sorry. This is just me walking over various textures on the ground. It's a bit of a long video, but you begin to see how the details of the ground and the material and the density of people register in your very private zone. I was always aware of myself as a traveler and aware of what that meant about my gaze and who I was looking at and who I was recording and why. And I think when this bicycle rickshaw driver in Delhi used his own power to get me from point A to point B, it was a very humbling moment. I wish I had many over the course of the year. I think one of the things that really, when we talk about the dissolution of the metropolis, it's not divorceable from the fact that we spend so much of our time occupying spaces of movement. And what I would term existential evaporation is something that begins to happen when you're gazing at so many places at the same time. You look forward and you see this kind of future of where you're going. You look backward and you see a past of where you've just been. And when you try and look at the section that's passing right next to you in the present, it's very difficult to read or understand anything. In a similar manner, this video was taken at the exact same time on So, this is a tunnel. But looking out of two sides of the train in Tokyo might give you a slightly less drastically different read, but even the space of 5 feet, your gaze and your view is completely different. Movement is also an arena of spectacle, and this becomes really obvious in some of the Asian tiger cities, quote unquote, such as Hong Kong and Shanghai, where they're in active competition for how many people are going to use their airports. The Hong Kong-Singapore competition for airport passengers is pretty monumental. You can see that in the airport architecture. And in the case of Shanghai and Hong Kong, you can see that on their waterfronts, which might interest Ivan. But you have these, they press their spectacular lit towers up to the water's edge, and there's a nightly spectacle of people coming down to the water and celebrating the new global identity of the city. also important to remember that in the exact same space that I just showed in Shanghai, with all the tall buildings, you also have moments like this where the space is still used in a very intimate way by people who inhabit the city on a more extended level than the tourists passing through. That was taken at 4 in the morning when I couldn't sleep. Cities also use speed to compete with each other. Obviously, this is such an iconic vision of Japan, where you're driving the Shinkansen and passing by Mount Fuji, which sort of refuses to disappear until you get behind another mountain. I also took a lot of footage of the same route at different points in the route. So this is one part of the bus ride from a point in Hong Kong Island, and the bus landscape went quite far for about 45 minutes. So I was able to get a sectional read of the city from its more, or its less urban fringe into its more essentially urban fabric. But this is the same ride, it's just separated by a And this is something about Hong Kong too, is that because of the topography, the density of the city is so great and everything is built upwards. And that sort of elevated proclivity you see in the buildings also translates to the transit system, where all the trams and the double-decker buses are meters and meters off the ground. So you get this really unique panoramic moving